Most people never disappear. They stay visible. They stay busy. They stay the same. And then they wonder why nothing actually changes. There is a 6-month window available to almost everyone, but almost no one uses it. Not because they can't, because they are afraid of what people will think. And that fear is exactly what is keeping them exactly where they are. Stay with me on this, because by the end of this video, you will understand something that most people spend years trying to figure out on their own. Here is something nobody says out loud. Being seen too early kills growth. Not because the world is cruel, but because performance and transformation cannot live in the same room. When you are always showing, you stop becoming. You shift from building to managing how you look while building. You post the gym photo before the habit is even solid. You tell people about the plan before the plan has any roots. And slowly, the external validation starts to replace the internal drive. You are not growing anymore. You are performing growth. And there is a massive difference between those two things. Pause for a second. Think about the last time you announced something and then never finished it. You told people, they responded with encouragement, and somewhere inside that warm response, the hunger to actually do it quietly died. That is not a coincidence. That is how visibility works against you before you are ready. When you go quiet, something strange starts to happen. The noise that other people's opinions create begins to fade, and you begin to hear yourself again. Not the version of you that performs for an audience, the actual you. The one that knows what it really wants, the one that has been waiting underneath all the noise. Silence is not absence. Silence is pressure. It compresses everything down to what is real. And under that pressure, identity forms. Not the identity you perform online, the one you actually grow into when no one is watching. 6 months of quiet work is not 6 months of hiding. It is 6 months of building something that cannot be faked. A new baseline, a new default, a version of you that exists before anyone else gets to see it. Let us talk about what actually happens inside those 6 months. The first month is the hardest. You feel invisible. You feel like you are falling behind. You check what everyone else is doing. You compare. You start to doubt whether this was the right call. This is normal. This is the detox phase. Your brain is withdrawing from external validation the same way it withdraws from anything it became dependent on. Let it happen. Do not fight it. Do not rush out of it. Pause for a second. What would you actually build if no one was watching? Not what you would post, not what you would announce. What would you quietly, obsessively work on if there was zero applause waiting at the end? That answer is more important than any strategy or plan you will ever find. By month 2 and 3, something begins to shift. The comparison starts to quiet down on its own. You stop checking what everyone else is doing, not because you force yourself to stop, but because the work starts to feel more real than the noise. You find a rhythm, a private rhythm, one that belongs entirely to you. By month 4, the identity starts to lock in. You begin making decisions differently, not from fear of being left behind, not from what looks impressive to others, from something deeper, a quiet sense of who you are actually becoming. Month 5 is when the compound effect becomes visible, not to anyone else, just to you. You look back at the person you were in month 1 and you almost don't recognize them. That distance is not a gap. That distance is the transformation. Month 6 is not about pushing harder. Month 6 is preparation. You are not hiding anymore. You are almost ready, but you don't rush the return. Because the person who rushes back too early brings the same patterns back with them. So you spend the last month integrating, making the new version of you stable, making it the default, not the performance. Pause for a second. This is not about being mysterious. It's not about ghosting the people who care about you. It's about choosing depth over display. It's about deciding that what you are building matters more than how it looks to others right now. That is a radical decision in a world that is completely addicted to being seen. When you re-emerge after 6 months of quiet work, you do not come back announcing. You come back different. And people will notice it before you explain a single thing. Not because you changed your appearance, because you changed the way you carry yourself. There is a stillness in people who have done real quiet work, a kind of calm authority that doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't come from confidence, it comes from proof. Internal proof. You were there when no one was watching. You did the work when there was no applause, no likes, no validation. And that builds a foundation that cannot be shaken by what other people think. The world will not understand why you went quiet. Some people will think you gave up. Some will think you are struggling. Some will move on entirely. Let them. Because 6 months from now, when you come back solid, when you move with that quiet, unshakable certainty, the results will not need an explanation. You will not need to convince anyone of anything. You will simply be different. And different speaks for itself. If any part of this landed, you already know what to do. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a better plan. You need permission. So here it is. Go quiet. Build in silence. Come back as proof.